Okay, so this problem is analysis of a slit ring. Slit ring in the sense, see, if you see this ring here, a small gap is there in this ring, a small break, what you can call it as a slit, a small gap. So not even though in the diagram it is looking enlarged one, but there is a close something. Only slit means a slight cut. We'll call it as slit. So now if this after slitting, it is fixed at the one end and it is subjected to a force of 1000 newtons at the other end. So now our aim for this problem is, the goal is to find the displacement at the nodes. That is the first point. Then we need to find the moment diagram, means you need to draw the bending moment diagram. See, in the previous problem, we have taken elements which are capable of taking only axial loads, means that problem is related to bars. And these bar elements, in the same bars means bar elements. Now, this problem is related to bending moment, means only beam element we can carry bending loads. So that's why we'll take beam element here. So the element in the previous problem is bar or spar or link element. Here you have to select beam element for this problem. So geometry wise it is simple. You have a circular ring, so which is fixed at here and it is subjected to a load here. So then he has given all the dimensions. The radius of the ring is 1 meter. Here he has given, and the cross section of this ring is also a solid ring. See, if you read the problem carefully here, what he mentioned here is the ring has a solid circular cross section with radius 100 mm. So that means if you cut the ring here the cross section is circular again, which is a solid. So that means its radius is 100 mm. And he has given the material properties, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio also. We'll take them everything as per the given data. But only thing here is, again you need to carefully here, Young's modulus is given in GPa and radius is in mm, force is newtons. So
Newtons.
And also radius in meters here. Okay.
Yes,
So why? Because there are no units in the software, we cannot. We are not setting any units here. So while taking the data, we need to careful that all the units should be consistent. So if I take radius in meters, so this radius, that is the cross sectional radius of the ring is meter mm. I need to convert this radius of the ring is also in mm. So what that means, 1 meter is equal to
100
mm. So I'll take the radius of the ring as 1000 mm. And similarly, if you take Young's modulus, it is given in GPa. So I want to convert that one as Newton per mm square. So then only I'll take force unit here, it is Newton, and the length dimension I'm taking it as mm. So therefore, if I convert this one into Newton per mm square, so it comes out as 200 GPa. Means how I can write it is 1 GPa, I can write something like this, 10 power 3.
Yes, sir.
Can I write like this?
Yes, sir.
So because GPa means 10 power 9, giga means 10 power 9. In the
Yes,
10
sir.
I have taken 10 power 3. So left out thing is
Megapascal.
10 power 6 means MPa, mega, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
200 into 10 cube megapascal. 1 megapascal equal to 1 Newton per meter mm square. That's what we required. 1 MPa equal to 1 Newton per mm square.
Okay, sir.
Means, so we want to take the Young's modulus in terms of Newton per mm square. So therefore, if I am able to convert this Young's modulus into MPa, then directly I can take it. So that means, what is the E value you need to take finally?
200 into
200 into
10 power 3.
3 MPa. So means
Yes,
1
sir.
mm square.
Yes, sir.
Into E3. I'll write 200 E3. Then MPa. So therefore it comes out as 1 MPa is 1 Newton per mm square means, so our units are consistent. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So this is how to change the given data into as per our requirement. So first you need to done that manually. Then after that, what we need to do is, in the previous problem directly we created nodes and then we elements, then we apply the loads and we solve the problem. But here, since this problem is a bending problem, I need to take more number of elements. So more number of elements means, in the previous problem we have only 3 elements. But here I want to choose around some 40 elements. So now if I choose 40 elements, so why I'm choosing, there is a reason for that also. Why I'm choosing 40 elements means, if I increase the number of elements, the solution accuracy will increase. That's why I'm going for 40 elements here. So to create 40 elements, I need to create 41 nodes, and then I need to create 40 elements. So which is going to be very tedious process, or it will take very time consuming. So therefore, instead of doing that, what I'll do is, first I'll create the geometry, then I'll convert the geometry into FE model. What we'll do is, first we'll create the geometry, then we'll convert it into
FE model.
by using a meshing tool in the software itself. So that means we are not going to manually create those elements and nodes. So software will create for us. Only we need to create the geometry. Okay?
Okay, sir.
To create the geometry here, what we need to do is, we need to create this ring, circular ring first. So for that, what
Okay, sir.
is, okay, so here I'll divide the circumference of the ring into something like this is one part, this is another part, this is another part, and this is another part. 4 parts. So what I'll do is, I'll create one. See here, key point. You say here it is written key point 1. I'll create one key point here. So that means I need to create 4 circular arcs. This is one arc. L1 is one circular arc. L2 is another circular arc. L3 is another circular arc. L4 is the another circular arc. So to create this, what I need to do have is, to create any line in the software, I require endpoints. Endpoints for the line is nothing but a key point. Endpoint for a line is key point. So then what I need to do is, first to create this arc, I need to create a key point here and here. Then to create this arc L2, I require key point at this location and at this location. Similarly, to create the third arc, so from this point to this point, I required end key point at this point and at this point. So similarly, for the 4th arc, I required a key point here and I required a key point here. Not only that, all these arcs are circular arcs. So therefore, to define its radius, I required a center for this arc. So for the center also, I need to create one more key point. So that means totally how many key points I need to create here? It is 6 for this line.
Yes, sir.
For this line 2, for this line 2, for this line 2, but this is common for these 2 lines, and key point 3 is common for these 2 lines, key point 4 is common for this L3 and L4. So finally, what I need to do is, I need to create 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, and at the center
6.
6. So here 1, if I show it here 1, then here 2, then here 3, here 4, here 5. Then at the center, it is 6.
6.
So to create key points, what we required is, we required XYZ data. What is the X coordinate, what is the Y coordinate, and what is the Z coordinate. Since our problem is a plane problem, for all the things we'll take Z is 0. We don't bother about the Z dimension because it is in XY plane only. Here you can see the coordinate system is only X. He is not showing anything about Z. So I need to take only XY coordinates. I'll ignore the Z. So default is 0. So it will take default 0. I have to ignore the Z value. Only you have to take X and Y coordinates. So to do that, first I need to identify. So I'll fix the origin here. At the center of the ring is the origin. So now I need to create this key point 1. So to do that, first I need to identify what is its X coordinate and what is Y coordinate. Since this key point 1 is on this same line, here on this line, so you need to measure the X distance. X distance is nothing but here, this radius only, right?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, X coordinate for key point 1, it is 1000, comma, Y coordinate is 0. So
0.
you are measuring from the center in upward direction, it coincides with it, it is 0. So then
Okay, sir.
for this location, key point 2 is here. What is the key point 2 coordinates here? For this, x will be 0 because it is on the same y axis, right?
Yes, sir. Same. Yes, sir.
X is 0 and y is 0 comma
Now,
y. What is this distance from center point to this point? Again, it is radius, right?
yes, sir. 1000.
It is in the negative direction, right?
Yes, sir. Negative direction.
Y is upward. So negative means you need to take 0 comma minus
1000.
1000.
1000.
Negative you have to take, that is important. 0 comma minus 1000. Then
Okay, sir.
I'll erase all these things. Then for this one, here you need to create one more key point 3. So what is the coordinates for this key point 3? See, if I draw a line here, it is
X-axis.
x-axis. So therefore, the x-axis distance is nothing but radius second here, right?
Yes, sir.
But it is in negative x direction. Your point
Yes, sir.
is like this, it is negative x direction. So therefore, x coordinate is minus
Minus 1000.
1000. And what is y coordinate?
0.
Because it is on the x-axis only. So this
Yes,
is
sir.
key point 3. This is key point 2. We already created key point 1 here, which is
0.
1000
1000, 0.
0.
Yes, sir.
Next key point 4 is here at this location. So now this is also lies on y-axis only. This lies on y-axis.
Y-axis.
What is its coordinate? X coordinate
0.
will be 0.
0.
Y coordinate is equal
1000.
to radius of ring. So which is 1000, which is in the positive direction. You need to take positive value. So 0 comma 1000. Then fifth coordinate is here. So which is same as your first one. Fifth key point is same as the first key point. Coordinate is 0, 1000 comma 0. So
0.
1 and 5 are at same location. So therefore 1 comma 1000 comma 0. Then sixth
Yes, sir.
here. So for
0, 0.
coordinates 0 comma 0. So like this, by identifying all the key point coordinates, first I'll write down those coordinates, then I'll create the key points. Once I create the key points, then I'll join these two two key points in order so that I can create line arc, line element L1, L2, and L3 and L4. Right? So I'll show you how to do that in the software. Okay? Right? Once you done
Okay, sir.
is, I'll divide the let us say I want each line is divided into 10 elements. I'll give number of digits on each line as 10. If I want to 10 20, I can give 20 like that. As per our requirement, we can give it. So once you've done that, automatically if you miss it, the lines are converted into the nodes and elements. Okay, right. So to proceed this software, first you need to
Okay,
select the beam element, then you need to define the material properties, then you need to define its cross section. So first these are the things you need to define before creating the geometry. First you have to select the element type, then you need to define the material properties, and then you need to define the cross section. So I'll go to the software now.
Okay, sir.
I'll open the software.
సార్ ఇది క్రాక్డ్ వర్షన్ సార్ ఇప్పుడు మీ దగ్గర ఉంది.
కాకపోతే లైవ్ లో రికార్డ్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా, అవన్నీ మాట్లాడు మాకు నువ్వు. ఈ లైవ్ లో రికార్డ్
ఓకే ఓకే సారీ
చేస్తున్నాం కదా.
ఓకే ఓకే సార్.
Okay, so now it is open. Okay, right. See, okay. So now we'll try to solve this problem in the software. So for that, first we'll select the element as a beam element. So to do that, to select the element, you go for element type, then click add, edit, delete. Then again a dialog box will open. In that again you need to click add. So you have to select beam here. So earlier one link, don't select link. Now you have to select beam. In that again two types of elements are there. Two node element is there and three node element is there. You can select any one of those two, but we'll select two node element. Click OK. So now once you've done that, here beam 188 will come. It will show it here. Then material properties. So element is added. Then I'll go for material properties, material models. Then since we are solving structural problem, you click on structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. So since we have only Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio, you have to take isotropic material. So what is the Young's modulus value? Ex is nothing but your Young's modulus 200 into E3.
E power 3. E3.
Just we discussed 200 into E3. Poisson's ratio, yes, given it as 0.3.
0.3.
If you have any units, you just take it as 0.3. Okay, right. Then I need to define the section, cross section. So cross section for the beam, you have to select, go for sections. In that beam, you select common sections. So what he mentioned the data, he mentioned it is a solid circular. See here it is, you can see the rectangular shape is given default one, but I need to change this one into circular one. See here, hollow circular one is there and solid circular one is there. I need to select this circular, solid circular, you can see here. Then it is asked radius. So radius of solid circular one is, circle is yes given. So I'll give 100 here. See now, if you want to see what is the area, what is the moment of inertia for all these things, what you have to do is just click apply and then click preview. So now you can see for this 100, it is calculating the area and moment of inertia, all these properties, where is it centroid, all these properties it will calculate. Okay, if you interested in that or else, okay, just click apply, then click OK. It is done. Then once you define all these things, I'll go for creation of those key points, what we discussed, 5 key points. So for that, I need to go to modeling, create key points in active coordinate system, because we fixed our coordinate system at 0, 0. That is our active coordinate system. Here key point number you can give it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or not. Defaultly the software will give the numbering. So I'll leave this key point number as a blank and I'll give only the coordinates. So coordinates, first key point it is 1000, comma
0.
Then I'll click apply. Because why I'm using apply means, so once I apply that, this dialog box still open. If you click OK, it will close. Because I want to create the 5 more key points, I am using apply option. At the end of the point, I'll use this OK option. Then for key point 2, what are the coordinates? 0,
0, comma minus 1000.
Minus 1000. Then again I'll click apply. Then for
1000, minus 1000, comma
minus
0.
0. Click apply. For 4 it is 0,
comma 1000.
Apply. For 5 it is 1000,
comma 0.
0. Apply. 6,
0, comma 0.
comma 0. Since it is the last one, now I can close this. So that's why I'll use OK option now. See now, you can see nothing is visible here. See now they are coming, right? So if you want to see what is the number, what are their coordinates, so I can go for numbering here. See here key point numbers is off defaultly, so I'll click on. See now it will show you. See here you can see 1 is overriding, 5, 1 and 5 they are overriding position here, you can see here. Then 2, 3, 4 is there, 6 is here. Or else you can list also whether you are given the properties or created the key points properly or not. Just go for here in the utility menu, go for list key points coordinates only. See now first one is 1000, 0, second one is 0, minus 1000, third one is minus 1000, 0, fourth one is 0, 1000, fifth one is 1000, 0, sixth one is 0, 0. So like this you can verify it. Suppose you have given any one key point or maybe some of the key points wrongly, then what you have to do is you have to delete it and then you need to recreate it again, because there is no undo command in the software. So once you commit any mistake here, what you have to do is you have to delete the particular thing and then again you need to redo it. So there is no
how to delete, sir, that?
Like here create option, you have a delete option. So in modeling, this is create, below that you have a delete. So if you want
Okay, sir.
delete key points, you can use delete key point option. If you want to create lines and below areas like this, you have to use the particular delete command. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So right now I created 5 key points or 6 key points properly only, no need to delete anything. Then I'll move on to creation of that arcs. So arc will be under these lines, creation of lines. If we expand these lines, so there you have an option arcs. Then click on this arcs. Again, you have different options are there. So the options are here. One is through 3 key points, or by end key points and radius, by center and radius, and full circle. So based on the data available to me, I can select these options. See here, I know the end key points and I know the radius. So therefore, what you have to do is you need to use this option, end key points and radius. So then I'll select this. Once you select, a dialog box is open and it is asking for, see here, you can see the message here. Pick or enter the key points at the start and end of the arc. So that means, so what I have to do is for each arc, I need to select what is the start point and what is the end point. So for first arc, the start point is 1. But here, 2 key points are there. So now if I click here, a dialog box, a message window is opened here. It's saying that there are 2 key points at this location. Picked key point is 1. Continue picking or select OK, previous or next. See here you have given 3 options. So now at the same location you have 1 and 5. Right now it is selected 1. If you satisfied, okay, if you want to select only 1, then click OK. Or else you go for the next. If you want to pick 5, you need to click next. So therefore, since you want to select only 1 here, I'm satisfied with that selection, then I'll click OK. Then I'll select the other end. So that is key point 2. Then what I need to do is I need to click apply. So then what it is asking again, see here, pick or enter the key point on the center of curvature. So therefore you need to select the center, then click OK. Then it is asking for what is the radius of the arc. So here you need to enter that radius is
1000.
Then click apply. So now the first arc is created like this. Then I'll repeat the same procedure for the remaining 3 arcs also. I'll select 2 and 3, then click apply, then click center, then click OK. Then radius already it is there, we previously entered. I use the same data, then click apply. Second arc is created. Then select 3 and 4, click apply, then select center, click apply, then default is then apply. This arc is created. Then I'll use 3 and then now I have to select 5. But now the selected key point or picked key point is 1. So to change it, I need to click on next. So now it is saying picked key point is 5. So then I'll click OK. Then I'll go for apply. Then I'll select center. I'll apply. Then I'll OK. I'll do OK. So like this, I'll select the key points and radius. So to center and radius to create these 4 circular arcs. So that means our geometry is over now. Once your geometry is over, then I want to convert the geometry into a finite element mesh. So that is no elements. So for that I'll go for meshing. I'll select mesh tool. A dialog box will open for the mesh tool here. So here you can specify, you have a size control option is there. That means you can specify how many number of divisions you need to make for each line. So now to do that, see here, I'll select lines option and I'll click on set here. Once you do that, then it is asking for pick or enter lines for the size assignment. So I'll manually select like this, or else here you have option, because you want to divide all the lines, you can use this option, pick all. So then it is asking for number of element divisions. So let us say I'll give it is 10. So click OK. See now, see, you can see graphically it is dividing each line into 10 segments. You can see here, if you count each segment, it is divided into 10 segments, segments. So like this, you can divide it. Then not only once you divide, it is only you are specifying the number of digits. It doesn't mean that you already converted your line into nodes and elements. So there are nodes and no nodes and no elements right now, because only we specify the number of digits. Once you use the mesh command, then only the geometry is converted to nodes and elements.
FM. Okay,
So
sir.
therefore, I'll use this mesh command now. I'll click on this mesh. Then again, it is asking for pick or enter the lines to be meshed. I want to mesh all the lines, so I'll use pick all. So now it is converted. See, but it is now, if you are unable to see that. If you want to see plot number of elements and nodes, here you can go for numbering. You can here you can keep element numbers on, then click OK. See, now you can see you have total number of 40 elements. Each line is divided into 10 elements. So total you have 4 lines, 4 into 10. So you have 40 elements. 1, 2, it is starting from 1 to 40. Or else you can list also. You can here, you can go for list elements and nodes and attributes. You can see element number here. See, total there will be 40 elements are there. And what are the nodes corresponding to each element also is given. So element 1 is corresponding to node 1 and node 3. Like that, element 2 is corresponding to 3 and 4. And he has taken the material properties and the section also. Section what we define, section is solid circular section. You can see it here. Or else, okay, so if you want a circular section also here, I can go for here in the style size and shape option. If I keep it on here, see, now you can see, if I go for isometric view, you can see the circular cross section also here. So for clarity, what I'll do is I'll keep that numbering off. Only thing is, for the visualization purpose, I'll show it here. See, now you can see, I'll go for dynamic mode. See, now you have a circular cross section. So you can see any view, oblique view or front view or top view, whatever you want. You can see the circular cross section also. Okay, right. So
Okay, sir.
that means you can go for list nodes also. You can see the plot nodes also. You can plot the nodes. So you have a nodes also now. You have elements also now. That means our geometry is converted into finite element model. So then next step, what we need to do here is we need to apply the loads and boundary conditions like what he has given in the problem. So here, exactly at here, key point 5, here the split is there. So top one is fixed and bottom one is subjected to a force of 1000 newtons. So for that, what I need to do is, at this location, I have 2 nodes. So first, I need to identify what are those 2 nodes at this location. So for that, what I'll do is, I'll go for nodes, and here I'll select coordinate number, and then sorting option, because at that location the x coordinate is 1000 and y coordinate is 0.
0.
Therefore, what I'll do is, first option I'll take x coordinate, then the second option I'll take it as x coordinate. Then click OK. So now, see, I want to identify node at this location. What is the coordinates here? X is 1000, y is 0. Right?
0.
So see here, node 1 and node 32. These 2 nodes are there at the same location. At the node
Okay, sir.
it is 1000 comma 0, and node 32 coordinates also 1000 comma 0. But you need to identify which node is corresponding to which one. So that means, what I mean to say here is, I created a 1 arc top, 1 arc bottom. So L1 and L4. So 32 is belonging to L1 or L4, or 1 is belonging to L1 or L4. I need to identify that also. So to do that, what you can see here is, what I'll do, select entities, then I'll go for lines, apply, then I'll select only this line. Okay. Then what I'll do is select everything below selected lines. Then if I plot nodes, see, now only these nodes are listing out now. So that means these are the nodes only corresponding to L1. So now if I go for numbering here, Plot numbering, if I give node key points off and I'll give the node numbering on, see these are the nodes which are corresponding to this line. So in this line you have node 1 is there, but node 32 is not there. That means node 1 is corresponding to this bottom line and node 32 is corresponding to the top line L4. So that means what I need to do is I need to apply the load to the node 1 and I need to apply the constraint to the node 32. Okay, again to
Okay, sir.
all the nodes to the screen, what I have to do is I need to select, go for select, and I need to click everything. Then if I plot it, everything will come now. Okay, right. So now I need to fix node 32. I need to apply a load for the node 1. So for that, I'll go for loads, define loads, apply structural. First I'll go for displacement on nodes. So which I need to apply for 32. So here I will enter 32. Then click OK. Since it is fixed, I'll select all degrees of freedom. I'll click OK. So now you can see here, if I change the view, all rotations and translations are constant here. Then I need to apply the force. So I'll go for force on nodes again. But now the force is to be applied at node 1. I'll click OK. Since the force is acting in the vertically downward direction, you can see in the slide here, the
Yes,
force
sir. Yes, sir.
downward direction, I need to select the direction as y direction. Since it is acting in the negative direction, I have to use negative sign and its magnitude is 1000.
1000.
Click OK. See now it is putting a arrowhead in the vertically downward direction. That's it. So we solved everything. We have done everything. Now we need to go for only a solution. So for that, go for solution, solve current load step or current LS. Click OK. If you done everything properly, it will solve for you. So that message, what you can see here, solution done means it is solved. So once it is solved, then you need to go for the results. So you need to extract the results. That we will do using this general post processor. Here in the general post processor, you have two options. Either you can plot the result, you can list the.
List result.
So first, if I go for plot, I'll go for contour plot and then nodal solution. I want to see what is the y component of displacement. See now, you can see the here, but only thing here, I switched off those legends. So if I keep it on, see now these data values will also come out here. See now at what color? This blue color indicates this is minus 0.641. Then this red color indicates 0.119. So here you have a red color. So like this you can get it. But here
Okay, sir.
this is only graphical illustration. So at what location you have a maximum value, at what location you have a minimum value, like this you can see it. So but while recording it, so you need to take the image of this one and you need to put this one in your record. So for that, what you have to do is just you go for plot controls here. In this, you have an option called hard copy to the file. Just click this. So then you can select what type of image you want, whether JPEG or bitmap file or PNG file. You can select it accordingly. Then what you have to do is you need to click this reverse video because here the background is black. So if you print it, the entire background is printed as black, so that the printing material will be wasted. If you use this reverse video option, what happens is you will print it as the image will be saved as under a white background. Click OK, automatically it will save. So now you can go for your working directory where you selected. So then that there will be it will be saved like that. So I can show that one also here. So default working directory, it is taking it as, see where it is a C users under my name it is there. So I'll go for my computer, C users, then see here now in this whatever image I saved it now. See, this is the JPG file. If I open it, okay, I'll go for view. See now under background now become it is white, so you can get the this plot. You can take a printout of this and you can keep this one is in your record. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay,
like
sir.
it will be saved. So that is the plotting printing option. So not only that, you can if you want you can go for deformed shape also. Here you can use this one option also. How it is deformed. So for that purpose you cannot visualize this. I'll switch off the size option. Then you can see it as a line, and also I'll switch off this node element numbers also. Node numbers also. So now you can see how it is deformed. So this white line is undeformed before applying the loads. Now the blue color line is the deformed shape of the ring. So you can take the image of this one like the same option what I did earlier. You go for this, then click OK. Automatically this image will also getting saved into your directory. So now this is how you can plot the displacements. But I want to list. For that, go for list results, go for nodal solution, again degrees of freedom solution, and then y component of displacement. Click OK. See now at each node how much displacement is there. It is listing out here. So you can list out all those things. So for total 41 nodes, it is giving the nodal displacements, but we are interested in only the maximum displacement where it is. Only at node 1 there is a maximum displacement because we are applying the load at that point. So therefore that node will have maximum displacement. So you can note down the maximum displacement here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is how
Okay, sir.
finding out the first part, the finding the nodal displacements. So or else what you can do is at least for some nodes you can write you can list the nodal displacement. So up to some nodes you list out the values, then these are the nodal displacement like that. You can say in the record you can list those values also. Okay. Then
Okay, sir.
to the next one, that is we need to draw the bending moment diagram. So to draw the bending moment diagram, directly we won't get anything. Any option is there here. We'll do it through element table. That means we need to define the element table to get that bending moment. Like in the previous problem, that is stress problem, to get the stresses, we define the element table. Here also you need to do the same thing. So I'll go for element table, then click add. So then since I have two nodes, bending moment I'll take the label as mz for bending moment, and at at first node I'll take it as I. So therefore I'm defining the label as mz1. Then completely go down here and select sequence number and select this SMIC and enter here 3. So I said like this. Why I have to do like this only to get that particular bending moment? Then you have to use only these variables. Then only it will give us. So in the software, he has defined like that. So if you open the Help document and element output definitions, so they will give you this data. What is the sequence number you need to use and what is corresponding number, SMIC, and then you need to enter 3 here. Then click OK. So automatically that is getting added to here. Then I need to add one more, that is at the node 2 of the element, because we have taken 2 node element. At node 1, what is the element of bending moment, and at node 2, what is the bending moment. So again, I'll give the label number as MZ2. Then I will go for select sequence number. Again, I need to select this SMISC. Then here you need to enter 16. Then click OK. So those two will be getting added here. So now if I want to know why I have to use 3 and 16 and why I have to use SMISC, these commands, see here, you go for ANSYS help document. I'll open the ANSYS help. Okay, it is opening. Yeah, it is open. So now just you type what is the element you have taken. We have taken beam 188. So in the search bar, type beam 188 and click search. So now it is showing, it is listing out the some document is about this one. You go for here beam 188 3D 2 node beam. Click on this. So it will list out the information, complete information about that element. See, you can see the element. So it is a site element which is having two nodes, node Y, node J, and each node has how many degrees of freedom. All these things you can, it will tell you what type of load it can take. That entire information is there here.
Okay, sir.
Or else, okay, one more is there. This beam 188 is there. You can click it here also. It will give the element description also. So in the record, sometimes you need to write this. Something you need to write for each experiment. You need to write like this. So if you take a particular element in a particular problem, you need to write about the description of the elements. So you just directly you take it from here and you write it in the record. So what is that beam 188? So this beam element is suitable for slender and moderate and beam structures. This is the important point here. The element is based on Tymshink beam theory, which includes shear deformation effects. So like this, the element is linear, quadratic, or cubic nodes, and 6 or 7 degrees of freedom for each node. What are those freedom here? Like this, for entire thing he has given about that element description. And not only that, see here beam is showing something like this, and also coming to the downside here, there are element options and input data, all these things, cross sections, what type of sections it can support, like this, everything is there, beam 188. Then finally the input summary, you can see number of nodes is either 2 node or 3 node elements. Then degrees of freedom, this, if you use key point option 1 as 0, key point 1 as 1, these are the degrees of freedom. Like that, you can see what kind of loads it can support. It can support temperatures also, body loads, it can support temperatures also. Then what type of problems you can solve, and okay, the entire thing is there, but right now we are all this information is not required for us. Just I want to show this beam output data. Why I used SMIC and 3 and 16 for that. So if you come down here, the symbol MZ. See, MZ is for bending moment. You can see here bending moment symbols are MY, MZ. So MY is bending moment about Y axis, MZ is about Z axis. That is one point you need to remember. Then, if I completely go down here, so for MZ, so what is the item number here listed? SMI, and then what are the numbers he has listed here? For node I it is 3 and node J it is 16.
16.
You have to use this data. So like this, you need to refer the help document and to identify what are the sequence numbers you need to use. So
Yes, sir.
you can see here item and sequence numbers here. So sequence numbers are 3 and 16 and item should be SMIC. So that's what we did here. Okay, then click OK.
Okay, sir.
So once you've done that, then you need to plot this. I want to plot the bending moment diagram. Then I'll go for plot results. Then line element results, click on this. See node 1 and node 2, MZ1 and MZ2, you need to select, click OK. See now it is plotting the bending moment around the circumference of the circle. So this is going to be the bending moment diagram. Similarly,
Okay.
the shear force diagram also, but in our problem he has given only the bending moment diagram, so we plotted like this. What you have to do is again you need to capture this one also, like using this option plot controls.
Hard copy to files.
Okay, automatically it will be saved in that location. So you have to take a printout and you need to keep this one is also into your record, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So this is how you can solve the problem. So now if you have any doubt or anything, you can ask, or else we can close it.
I don't have any doubt, sir.
Ah,
But I need one copy, sir.
which one?
Any experiment. Because of that, I need to write observation, and then
Okay.
I continue to write record also, sir.
I need to first we do one. Wait, I will discuss. I'll close this and I'll stop recording. Then we'll discuss.
Okay, sir.